Now, I want to ask you this. Is E3 too soon to expect a new reveal from Volition?
I think it would be.
Too soon?
It would be too soon. Yeah,
okay.
That's my
Damn.
answer to that. How's that? Yeah.
Damn.
You know, and part of it is like with next gen. There's so like we want to make sure that we're doing everything right and spending our time looking at next gen. And again, we're looking at stuff, but the key for us is making sure that we're trying to do the right things for the hardware and looking at the kinds of things that we want to do for gamers that we think that they're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're looking at it.
All right, cool, cool.
It's
your facial expression alone.
A little too soon.
Your facial expression alone sold me, man. I know you sitting home, like you sitting right now, like hip hop. You know, I want to tell you, but I can't.
Exactly.
But when you see it, it's gonna be crazy. So, all right. So now check this out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, here's the next question: Xbox One versus PS4. Now, which system do you prefer to develop on and play on, and why? So from a developer standpoint and just as a general consumer, which one do you prefer to develop on if you had a choice, and which one do you prefer to play on and why?
Sure. You know, develop-wise, at least at this early stage, I mean, like I think that I'll be able to answer that one a little more clearly as we dig into it, as we really get deep into it. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm reading just like all the gamers are about, you know, the way the games are running between the different platforms, you know, resolution, things of that nature. So I get the sense of like it's going to require us to dig in a little deeper from a development standpoint to really be able to answer that. But I will say that both of those right now so far they're really nice to work on, especially like so. Take a step back to PlayStation 3. That was a really nice piece of machinery. But one of the things, the way they built it was. It required some very serious, very custom engineering to really try to pull all the power out of the PlayStation 3 that you could. Mm-hmm. And there was some great stuff in it, right? But it made it that much harder for us as a developer to really try to maximize it. And it took, it took a lot of time for people to do that. And the thing that I really like about what I'm seeing with PS4 is they've made a change where now from a development standpoint, like we just dive in and get it and it works. Like it is nice to work on compared to the PlayStation 3. And then, but the thing with the Xbox is that, you know, Xbox 360, pretty nice to work on, and the same thing with the Xbox One. It's another one where you just kind of dive in and like you can get going pretty fast. It's very similar to, like we talk about it. It's sort of PC gaming development, I should say, in the sense that like a lot of the components they're very straightforward. Yeah. You understand what the multi-threading is going to do. Like it's not crazy difficult. The complexity, I guarantee, which we're only scratching the surface now, is going to be how we really maximize all the guts of it, which we're just not quite there yet. So I'm not trying to totally dodge that question, but I think we need a little more time on that one.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Then in terms of like which one I like from a fan perspective.
Yeah, from a fan perspective, just playing all. Yeah.
I'm like it's tough because I like both of them, but in two totally.
I got them all. Yeah, I got every system. So yeah. I know what you mean. Exactly. Me personally, I prefer the PS4 as just a gamer's console, but like I just like to hear what developers think from a consumer standpoint.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's pretty much where I am, right?
Get the plug, Paul.
Like just the fidelity you get and all the things that you can do in the games, the resolution and stuff. Just I'm one of those bleeding edge gamers, right? I love the look of that. But the Xbox One is super powerful as well, right? The games look great. Yeah. But the things that I love about the Xbox One are all the other things that it does in terms of all the. Like the way that it weaves in a lot of the things like Skype, like being able to get, the internet, I mean, the voice commands, all that kind of stuff. It's just, it's a lot of fun to be able to play with that kind of angle as well. Yeah. So I feel like they both got their strengths and weaknesses. And ultimately, like the way that I come out at it from a gamer standpoint, it's just going to be the games that come out that are exclusive to each platform ultimately, right? So like,
what are you looking forward to? Yeah, I'm about to say Titanfall is that big game. Between Titanfall and Infamous, March is going to be a hell of a month. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. We feel the same way, right? And that's exactly how I am. It's like, I'll buy both of them. I'm going to have fun with both of them. And ultimately, I'm going to be really curious to see how do both games perform ultimately, right? And, how do fans, do they start to glom onto one side or the other more because of those exclusive games? But I just feel like there's enough parity right now that it's going to really boil down to those exclusive titles.
Yeah, I can't. Ooh, yo, I'm so hyped, man. All right, so
right?
Now we getting
stuff coming out.
We coming close. Like we coming to the end soon. So check this out. PlayStation Now. That shit blew me away at CES when I was there. Dude, I'm so excited. It's the first of its kind. I'm on it. Now, I got to ask you a question. Will we see Saints Row games streamed on this service? And also, if you know, how does that business model work for developers and publishers? Because Michael Pachter, that's my dude. I love Pachter. You my boy, Pachter. You my boy. But he up there saying that nobody's going to buy into it. It's not going to be as good. And I don't believe him. I disagree with him. I'm actually going to talk with him soon too about that. I think PS Now is going to be gangster. That shit is fire. And I'm very excited about it. And everybody else was excited about it. And I want to know what your thoughts are, Jim. What's up?
Yeah, honestly, I think it could be cool. Like, I remember when some of these, like when a lot of these streaming games were first coming out, and a lot of the technology used
on live and stuff like that.
Exactly, right. Like, I'll be the first to admit I was skeptical, mostly because I play a lot of Twitch games. I mean, like Saints Row is like when you got to get that reticle on that target, pull the trigger, that thing better hit, right? Yeah. And so I was skeptical at first because I'm thinking the latency, like, is it really going to work? How well will it work? And then the more I played those games, like it was significantly better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, like it wasn't a long ways away from a latency standpoint. Now, the only area that I'll say that I do think that is still, I'll be curious to see how it ultimately works when it comes out, is latency in terms of competitive multiplayer games. So if I'm playing a Call of Duty game, like the latency there could be very disruptive. But I know that they're aware of that sort of thing. So I can't wait to see the technology and see what is the latency like when you couple that with the natural latency of playing a multiplayer online game. So the point being, it might be it's not that bad because you're already dealing with latency. I'm anxious to see, but that's my only caveat. I feel like it's more that is the competitive multiplayer game. But thinking of a game like Saints Row, right? Like I think that things like that would be awesome. And right now, like honestly, I don't know what the business structure is going to be in terms of like how developers work with it, or whether or not we'll be able to do our Saints Row game streaming on that. That's something we're still talking about right now in terms of figuring out how that all is going to work. But like being able to play cooperatively, like if me and you are playing cooperatively, then you don't worry as it doesn't have to be like blazingly perfect because it's not competitive, right? As long as we're enjoying the experience and it feels okay and feels like we're very responsive. I think I'm with you. I think gamers are going to totally dig that.
Yo, it's crazy. Listen, I played The Last of Us on PS Vita. I played God of War Ascension on the Vita. And I played it also from the Bravia TV. And I'm telling you, like, every day I went to the station just to play it because it was one of those situations where you hear about it, but now that it's here, is it really true? You kind of second guess your own thought, even though it's right in front of you. Your PlayStation Now is really, Jim, son, I was like, when I knew that they did not spend $380 million on this project for nothing. This shit really works. And the thing that most impressed me about it is the fact that I could be playing online via PlayStation Now with somebody else that has the disc, and it's still no problem. There's people in the beta right now using it that's telling me about it, and they enjoying the experience. Actually, right now, people that's in the beta are playing against people that actually got these games on disc right now.
That tells you right there, right? Because if the latency is not an issue against people on disc, then that's it. I don't know. It's in some ways it's a holy grail for us because think about the ability to be able to make changes into the game, deliver it instantly, effectively because it's in the cloud, it's streaming in. When you think of the creativity that you can apply to that, not just the technology, but the actual creativity. Thinking about things you can do with worlds, like ever evolving worlds. Stream that to people's experience. There's some powerful things I think that can come from that. And so if the technology is there and the bits I've seen, like I said in the past, seem promising. Hearing what you're saying, man.
Jim, I guarantee it.
I'll tell you that.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. So, all right, so moving on to the next question, right? Now, how will online gaming be better on PS4 and Xbox One from what you guys been experiencing working with the systems, but also in conjunction with the new project or projects that you guys is working on?
Yeah, it's interesting with online because the way that I look at it is that you already get a certain amount of, there's the stuff you get for quote unquote free, call it, right? Where if you've got, a lot of times we're bound by having our particular platform be the server. So I've got to have it to be the host, right? And you're the client to an X number of clients. And so when we're thinking of current gen, there's kind of a max you can do before that host just starts to run out of horsepower. And so it's kind of the freebie one, right? But when you look at something like Battlefield 4 for next gen, you see 64 players, right? That's
crazy.
the kind of power you can get from next gen and the kinds of things you can do with it, right? But I think that's kind of a side effect of just, like better graphics, more fidelity, more players for co-op, so that, or and multiplayer, and that's awesome. But to me, the stuff that I'm really intrigued by is the stuff that you hear from both Microsoft and Sony, where they talk so much about more the social aspects, the way that they're trying to lead games.
The share button alone, right? Yo, that damn share button on the PS4 is so, oh my God, man.
Right? It's like that's the future to me. Like, that's the kind of stuff where, and I don't know specifics right now, but like, that's the stuff where when you think about the kinds of things where you can weave those elements more into the games and thinking of creative avenues that the people aren't doing, like the less obvious stuff like multiplayer. And again, like, it's totally powerful to get more people. I get that. But like, what are the things that you're doing that are weaving in that aren't necessarily the obvious solution, right? Or seeing things where some developers are weaving more of their handhelds in, right? Like, I'm gonna like, there's ways that I can weave that into the experience. I mean, that's some creative stuff. When you start to think about different mechanisms that you weave into it, like, I think that, to me, that is an avenue from just a raw creative standpoint that I'm going to be really intrigued to see for the industry, because I think there's a lot there that people can tap into that we haven't really done as much of up till now. We've done a lot of the obvious stuff, which is tons of fun. I mean, like, look how successful the games are that do competitive multiplayer. But I feel like, I honestly feel like it opens up a lot of avenues creatively for us to do new things. And I wish there were things we could talk about in terms of what we were specifically talking about. Yeah. But a little early for that kind of stuff from our standpoint. But just, I guess, what I can say is rest assured, a lot of people have a lot of thoughts here about what kinds of things we can do, thinking about social and online.
Yo, before I go to my next question, I love your thought process, man. It's like, what I try to tell a lot of people in the community is that, there's a certain lack of appreciation that I've noticed between gamers and journalists when it comes to developers and what it takes to develop and make these games. And the way you talk about them, it's like the passion is just bleeding off the screen, man. And I love you for that, man. Because I feel this, how I get, man. When I see you and I'm around you, I really, really love y'all, man. I appreciate it. I'm proud of y'all, man. And sometimes it bugs me to see people like talk so much shit without understanding anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
I do.
Just thank you for being one of those dudes in the industry that like understands what it is and know how to deliver it as a gamer and as a developer at the same time. I really appreciate it, dog. Like,
I totally appreciate that too. And yeah, you're right. I mean, that's one of the things I love about Volition is that we are comprised of a bunch of gamers. I mean, we love playing games and we like to think that it kind of shows them what we're doing. And
hell yeah, man. It does, man. It really do. Now, here's an interesting question. Okay. So if Microsoft offered you guys $50 million to have Saints Row be an exclusive game, how likely will you do it?
Man.
It's your boy Hip Hop Gamer. Welcome to the Now Digital Network.